Yep. Hey, you, come on, sit down. You're sitting at the grown-ups table. I'm your host, Jesse Pippinell, and guess what? We got a guest host tonight. Please give it up for, what's your name, sir? Say it loud and proud.
Joel Savage! What's up, everybody? Hi! So good to be at the grown-ups table for once.
It's so good to have you, man. And
This is
it's
my
good.
first time.
Yeah, and I'm so glad we got you on because, man, you have been, before we get into what we're going to be talking about, everybody, which I'm just going to throw it up on the screen, we're going to be talking about Universal Monster movie films, all right? Easily to say, I don't have to say, spoiler alert, you had close to 100 years to watch these movies, so I don't want to hear anything. But, Joel, I wanted to talk to you real fast before we get into it because you got an incredible show going on right now at Mad Lab, which I got tickets for the 28th. Could you let people know, talk a little bit about it and what it is and what to expect? I'm very excited for it.
I have no idea how to explain the show. I ask everybody when they come see the show, it's like, you've seen the, I try to explain it and everybody's like, I don't, what are you talking about? And then they come and see the show and they're like, oh, okay. And I'm like, how would you explain that? And they're like, I have no idea. The best description I've heard of it is it's like Pee-wee's Playhouse, but with more plastic skeletons and cobwebs.
I love this.
It's where horror hosts like that of like Svengoolie or Elvira or Joe Bob Briggs. But instead of showing movies, because we can't afford the rights to them, we make our own short films, and so we show those. And then we have it's kind of sketch comedy, but there's a story, and we don't really change. It's weird. I don't know how to describe it except for it's really, really fun, and everybody should go see it.
I'll give you a word: original. I mean, that sounds really good. It doesn't sound like you're doing something that someone else is doing right now. And I think when you can get an audience to go, I don't know what this is, but I love it. I think that's what original is, because then anything that's done like what you do afterwards is like, oh, it's kind of like Dr. Show.
Yeah.
It's the root. So you always want to be the root of a description. Yeah. I mean, so that's awesome, man.
Yeah, I feel like we'll be the Ramones, and then everybody will do shows that will be far more successful than us. So, yeah, I think that's what's going to happen.
Well, like I said, Friday, Saturday, you got shows then at Mad Lab, downtown Columbus. Everybody go check this out. I'm going to be there, guys. I'm excited for this. This is going to be a grand old time. Like, I've seen you guys do sketches online. I've seen you do all kinds of stuff. And it just looked like this madcap mayhem chaos. It looks fun. It looks fun.
I will say this: it is in 3D, which means there's candy just randomly thrown at your face. We will drag people on stage to perform. Not really drag them on stage. If you don't want to go, we won't push you. But we're looking for folks to come on stage with us for a couple of things, and of course, we will run through the aisles screaming and bloody murder, and it's a lot of fun. It's like a Rocky Horror midnight show, but with no boobs or cursing, maybe. So yeah,
it's fun for the whole family.
Well, not the whole family.
The Manson family. You know,
leave your racist uncle at home.
Not the whole. Okay, an exclusive amount of the family, but indeed,
yeah.
a good time.
Majority.
I would say a solid 90%. Let's go with a solid 90. All right. Well, anyway, speaking of 90s, 1990, which is what we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about Universal Monster movies, and obviously these guys have a huge impact on what horror is today. I mean, dare I say, the film industry itself. I mean, because the whole week I've been sitting here and rewatching all these movies, and even to this day, like I like, how do they do the special effects for some of the things that they're doing? It's incredible. Like, what always blows my mind, and like, don't get me wrong, like I know how they're doing it, but the Invisible Man, when he starts taking off his garbs,
oh my gosh, yeah,
I don't know why that. Like, I know how they're doing it, but when he does it, it looks so coordinated, and it's like special effects and the movie industry being saved by horror movies back in the 30s. I mean, this was
the whole studio was saved on the Universal Monsters. Like the studio was going under basically.
Oh yeah. They were. This was like, and this was like an incredible time because, like, you know, the 30s is when, like, the Great Depression was happening and everything like that, and it's always interesting. There's always, I always say, a weird peak in horror when something messed up in the world is happening. Do you ever notice that? Like,
yeah,
very much. Like when the Vietnam War happened. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was like, when the Vietnam War happened, you know, we started getting a little bit more desensitized to violence and all that stuff, and therefore violence started kicking up. After 9/11, we were all fearful of what people could do to other people, and then enters, you know, Saw, Hostel, all these movies regarding what people will do to people. I mean, this is during the time of, you know, George Bush's enhanced interrogation methods.
Yeah.
Now we're talking torture as a genre in horror, and it's fascinating. Like, how do you feel about people back in the Depression during this time watching these movies?
This is interesting because my grandmother was a child during the Depression.
And Get out. Okay.
Told me that when she went to go see Frankenstein and how, like, it changed her in a weird way. Like, cause she was like just this innocent little kid. They were dirt poor in Courthouse, Ohio. And there was a theater complex, and she managed to scrape by enough pennies and stuff to go and see a movie. Her and her friend Ruth walked down a dirt path to the movie theater, went in, it was bright day, came out, it was dark, and they were paralyzed with fear. She was saying they could not walk home. And as they were walking home, they were like, every sound made them scream and they didn't know what to do. And I love that story. That's one of my favorite stories. And it was over Frankenstein. And she was like, yeah.
You think nowadays, like, that's not the monster people freak out over.
Yeah, no. Well, I was like 6 years old, and it was coming on television. She was like turning it off. She's like, no. I'm like, I want to see this. What is this? And she's like, it's so scary. And it is like, no, it's not.
If I remember correctly with Frankenstein specifically, I might as well just switch it over because we're just going to be talking about Frankenstein now.
Yeah.
I have a bunch of topics, but we'll free flow this. Frankenstein was kind of one of the first movies, if I remember correctly, that kind of introduced the idea of this is a horror movie. Like, this whole idea, like, even though Dracula came first, but like they kind of termed that whole horror movie, scary movie kind of, because, like, I love how they have because no other movie did what it did. Was they had the intro, like, the producer would like me to let you know that this is the most terrifying movie of all time. And if this may not be good for you, well, you've been warned. You know? Like, it had this kind of, like, it felt like I was going to church.
Yeah.
With horror movies in a weird way.
They put that at the beginning to tamper down public opinion because they were afraid. This was like, it was after Dracula. Dracula really wasn't as sensational as it was going to be. Because Todd Browning was originally supposed to do Frankenstein, and Bela Lugosi famously was going to play the monster, and then he said no.
I did not know that.
Oh yeah, Bela Lugosi was originally slated to play the monster. He of himself a romantic lead, and he wanted to branch out and do other things because he was like a matinee star in Hungary. Bela Lugosi was like a like Brad Pitt, or what would be the
he was a symbol.
Charlemagne, was it Timothy Charlemagne of his day? He famously didn't wear shirts. He would just wear his Dracula cape and walk around just like Timothy Charlemagne. No, I was kidding. That's not a thing. He's like, yeah. He showed a lot. He showed a lot of neck, which is, oh boy, back in that day.
Can't do that. Scandalous.
But Todd Browning, I forget the reason why, but he dropped out. They hired on James Whale. James Whale, of course, saw Boris Karloff in a lunch line and was like, "You have the perfect face for horror," which broke
not the
Boris Karloff's little heart because he was dressed to the nines that day and he was feeling like really like hot. And then this director comes like, "He's a perfect face for horror," and he's like, "God damn it!" But before Frankenstein, there was Lon Chaney's Hunchback of Notre Dame, which was kind of a sensation at the time, and the original Phantom of the Opera was. Have you ever seen the original Phantom of the Opera?
I have not. The last cut I've seen of Phantom of the Opera, I told you, was the Dario Argento version.
Oh, that's right.
Which is just like, imagine just taking acid and watching that movie. Dude, there's a scene at one point where the Phantom is just sitting on top of the church. He's thinking about banging the girl from behind, and they show it like in like a thought bubble.
like Garfield style.
Like, he's sitting like this, like, and then another thought bubble comes up, and it's him putting human beings in a giant mousetrap and it going off.
Oh my god, that's hilarious. I have to see that.
The only way my wife and I could see this is we had to bootleg it, and it was a German version.
Yeah.
So we sat there like, I don't understand a single thing that's happening. We watched it. It was fun. I think not understanding it made it hilarious.
That's amazing, dude.
But no, I have not seen I haven't seen that. Are you talking about the Lon Chaney?
Lon Chaney, 1921, maybe something like that. I'm really bad with dates. I'm sorry. I have to But yeah, it was. You've seen the unmasking scene where he's playing and she takes off the thing and he's it's that grotesque face that he like made himself and everything.
Bat nose.
That was such a startling thing at that time. That's why they put the thing at the beginning of Frankenstein.
Yeah,
they didn't want a backlash like they did during that. But yeah, Frankenstein, great flippin' movie. I love that movie so much. Yeah.
I found the one thing that bummed me out. It took me out of the movie for 2 seconds, and it wasn't even anything about the movie. It was the credits.
Yeah.
It was based on a novel written by Mrs. Percy Shelley. Luckily, the ship corrected itself because in Bride of Frankenstein, she got her full name in there.
Yeah.
She didn't, and none of that sexist bullshit. She had the Mary Wolfstein. Wolfstein is the name, like Wolfstein.
I know Shelley. Yeah, that's amazing.
Which, by the way, that's the one you want to have your name in, honestly, because Bride of Frankenstein is one of the like, holy shit, a sequel fucking tap danced over the original.
Yeah, and the opening scene of the bride playing Mary Shelley.
I love
talking to those guys.
Oh, it doesn't even matter. You know what they are? The losers.
Yeah.
From what I understand,
Lord Byron. Yeah.
The three of them were supposed to see who could write the best novel ever. So
it was the scariest story. They were trapped in a snowstorm in the middle of the summer. Yeah. At a secluded like castle, and it was like, who can make the scariest story? And she won. And Lord Byron actually wrote a version of Dracula, but didn't call it Dracula, but was like the modern vampire that like kind of inspired Dracula. So both Dracula and Frankenstein were kind of born on that night. So yeah.
That's really cool. But. So, anyways, going back to the Frankenstein movie, because we can go right. We'll probably put Bride of Frankenstein and Frankenstein back together. But like, this movie is so good. It has James Wales' like very dark humor in there.
Oh yeah.
I love
campy.
Very campy. Yeah.
The reason why his head is flat is because James Wales was like, I want it to look like a can that you can just peel open, put a new brain in, and then staple together. That's why it looks like it does. It's because it was just a campy. He was like, "Oh, wouldn't that be funny?" So yes.
Yeah, like it is very campy. Like even the scene which pretty much Young Frankenstein mirrored almost beat for beat, where Marty Feldman drops the brain because he's frightened by a thunderstorm. Fritz is just frightened by the skeleton.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
It's like you're kind of laughing, like, oh my god. So it has that very much camp light atmosphere. Even Bride of Frankenstein Minnie, when they're like, she's like, the monster's alive! I see the monster! Shut up!
She's amazing in it. And here's the thing about the Frankenstein series I absolutely love. The first three, you follow the monsters like progression. So in the first one, he's the Frankenstein black suit, everything.
Yeah.
At the end, he's in the windmill that burns down, and then Bride of Frankenstein opens up after that, and his hair is all singed, so you see more of the thing. His suit is all ripped, and he has new scars and stuff, and then that carries over, and of course. They end the movie both times with pulling a lever that blows up the castle, which Gilbert Gottfried has this amazing bit where he's like, you know what you need? You need a lever. We need a lever that just blows up the thing. Don't hang your jacket on it because, there's a lever that you gotta have.
It's such a good bit.
It's so amazing. But so he kills him and the bride, and then he's living out in the third in House of Frankenstein for many years, and his hair's kind of grown back a little bit, and he's wearing like pelts and like fur and stuff, and walking around, and then I forget which one is after that. It's Son of Frankenstein, something like that, where he ends up losing his eyesight, and that's why Frankenstein always walks like this, is because he's supposed to not have eyesight. He's supposed to be I don't know. It's just it's a really cool thing what they did of just connecting together and telling one long story before I guess the MCU ever did. So
I mean, these are the guys that kind of did the MCU before MCU did it. I mean, very much, again, like I said, we're beyond the impact of horror movies that they had on people. It was on everything else.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And they didn't start off like fighting or anything. Like was it Dana Gould once said, it's Frankenstein meets the Wolfman. Let's have them just meet. See what happens first. Let him just see what happens.
Let's see if they hit it off.
They don't. Spoilers.
One of the best things I always love about that scene where Frankenstein, so just to set the scene.
Yes, yeah.
He gets rejected by the bride. All right, the bride's just like, no. And he gets, my wife and I laugh because it's kind of like that moment where like when a guy hits on a girl and the girl's like, no thanks, I have a boyfriend. It's like, fuck you for this. Like, that was kind of Frankenstein's moment where he gets rejected on the first shot and he's like, all right, you guys leave. We belong dead.
Yeah, that is the ultimate, like, hey girl, what's going on? I have a boyfriend. Fuck you, ho!
What? Frankenstein went 0 to 60 and self-destructing the whole castle. Like, it was hilarious. It was
can't have rejection.
I was just trying to be nice.
Not a bad idea.
No women want nice guys, so I gotta blow up the castle.
That's going to be in our next movie. What?
but yeah, so Frankenstein, man. So yeah, so the movies are great, and the Bride of Frankenstein, what's so great, big couple of me watching them, couple of takeaways is how other horror movies were influenced, like Halloween 1 and 2 take place on the same night, or pick up I mean, this movie picks up right as the thing is burning. No lag time, maybe 5 minutes. But then also the Bride of Frankenstein, I like how Bride of Chucky would also kind of comment on it to the point where they quote it. They quote that movie like, we belong dead together. That is a climactic line that Tiffany says. And she's even watching the movie in the movie. So,
she's watching Bride when she
becomes the bride.
There's also, I don't know if you've ever seen Bride of Reanimator.
Yes.
Really good movie. Really good movie. Yeah. We'll have to do a Reanimator series at some point.
I always love that the one line. I always butcher it when the head's talking back to him. He's like, get a job or a sideshow. Like he's like, you're just a talking head. You're nothing.
Get
you're
a
nothing.
job at a sideshow. It's like, clearly you've never been to a sideshow. He would get a job there. Like that's not an insult.
And the macabre humor is hilarious. Like how he uses the letter stacker. He just shoves the head on it. Just oh my god, it's like just ridiculous.
Well, in the second one, they put Batwing in the head, and the head just flies around with bat wings. The entire, which is hilarious.
I gotta rewatch Bride of Reanimator. It's been a hot minute since I watched that one. But
it's on Tubi right now, so
Tubi. I'm gonna have to check that out. Yeah. Now here's the thing. Tom Cook is giving you a shout out, Joel Gottfried.
That's right. I love that, Tom. Good to see you. I don't know. Mine has existential dread. My impersonation. He starts like really pounding his head. Anyways,
Tom also gave us kind of an interesting segue to our next movie we can go into. We could because you'll know what movie we're going to go into next when I show you the comments. Anyone see Freaks from the 1930s?
Yeah. It is such a weird film.
But there's footage that was destroyed, and sadly this hurt his career so badly. I don't think it recovered after this. It was just one of those movies.
After this, he did Dracula, right? Like I think he did. Because Dracula's 31.
I thought this was after.
I believe it was before. I don't think it destroyed his career. I think he got sick, but like that's what destroyed his career, is him having Alzheimer's disease.
Well, no, I wouldn't say destroyed like this movie was bad. I'm not saying that. Like this movie's good. It came out. Oh, it was a year after. A year after Dracula. Yeah, because Dracula's 31. This is 32. Yeah. Like right, because that's why they didn't do Frankenstein. Yeah. I think that's why. Yeah. What happened was it was like people were just not ready to see this. I mean, this movie wasn't even long. It's a 64-minute movie, but yeah, it was just one of those movies where is in that pre-code time where like nothing wrong with it by today's standard, but back then, you know how sensitive people were back then.
Well, I mean it is. I kind of see it is kind of exploiting people.
Oh, yeah.
But like, here's the thing: is Todd Browning grew up in circuses, so these were people he knew, and he put together this movie as showing them as a loving family. You know what I mean? And not being mocked, not being like pointed at, and being like, these are people with, you know. And I don't know, man. It's a really good movie. My only problem is the ending. So the woman is dating the little person to get all of his money. And
is that Cleopatra?
Yes, yeah. Okay. And she's also having an affair with the strongman, so she's going to take his money and run off the strongman. The quote unquote freaks find out about it, and they go after her. First of all, there's the guy with no arms and legs with a knife in his mouth just crawling at her. I'm like, okay. But they castrate the strong man.
Yeah.
And they turn the lady into a chicken woman.
Yeah. I think it was a duck. Isn't it a duck?
Like a duck, a bird woman, basically. At the end, she's like flapping. She's like, ah. But here's the thing. That doesn't seem like equal punishment to me. Do you know what I mean? No, castrate and then bird person. So it's not.
This is pre-code time, all right. We didn't code out punishments. But the reason why what happened with this movie, so what I was saying, like hurt wise, this movie's good, but like what happened was the studio was like very like against this movie in every way. I mean, because like it was originally a 90-minute movie and it got knocked down to like 60 minutes. And there was actually, I was, according to the podcast Dead Meat, which I listened to, people should listen to that. It's pretty good. That apparently in the middle of like the previews and stuff like that, when it was getting previewed, a woman actually she threatened to sue MGM because she was claiming that the movie caused her to suffer a miscarriage. Like, dude, like it was that.
It wasn't the cigarettes and drinking that they were doing during smoking times at that. No, it's gotta be the movie. It's the magic of the movie is what caused.
It's just kind of funny how, like, you know, a lot of times we always say things have changed, but sometimes I feel like, nah, not really. We still, I bet you we have someone who has claimed that, but yeah. But no, Freaks is a good movie. If anybody wants to go check that out, check it out. Unfortunately, the most tragic thing about that movie is the footage that was destroyed and we'll never get back. But it's definitely a good movie. Like I said, it came out during a time where I think people were judgmental in the worst possible ways.
Yeah, they were like today. No judgmental people at all.
Well, we're a little nicer. We're a little nicer. Okay. Oh, okay. Maybe we're not. Point is, as you mentioned, this movie made them a family. It wasn't a movie to mock them. It wasn't a movie to go, hey, look at you. It was, and they were the good guys. They were the good guys. I mean, they doled out some interesting justice, but hey,
that's carny justice, man.
That's carny justice. That's Carney Town, baby. That's what you gotta do.
Don't talk about it, Jake. It's Carney Town.
It's Carney Town.
It's Carney Town, Jake. It's Carney Town.
The reason why we talk about Freaks real quick, because Tom I'm not sure if Tom teed us up on purpose, but this is great. But Todd Browning did this movie, man.
Yep.
Wow, this movie. Dude, like I don't even
with the scariest thing in the world that could possibly pum. That's my favorite thing about the movie.
This movie, what I love so much about it is how hard Lugosi goes.
Oh yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Dude, I feel like no one showed up. Like everybody's like has that like, wow, you see here, you know what I mean? We gotta find the Dracula. He's like, and he's just walking on the moon, and it's so damn good, and it gravitates him so much.
He's so amazing. So as you know, I'm mentored by Count Dracula.
Yes, we've had him on. He spoke very highly of you.
Yeah, I saw all the episodes. I love Count Dracula. He's amazing. One thing you can do, this is something I say often. Do you know how you get Count Dracula to talk?
How?
You just ask him about Count Dracula, and then he will just fill a full hour for you. But Dracula is like my favorite Universal monster movie. Only like, even if I didn't and I didn't hang out with him like every single day.
Yeah.
He is my favorite Universal monster movie just because of the swagger and the style. And Bela Lugosi deserves every thing because he praise he deserves residuals even now after he's dead, because I mean that's probably why he was on opium at the end of his life, is because his back was so sore from having to carry that movie the entire time, because that is the most boring movie but Lugosi is able to like save it every single time. It's like the Renfield movie in the fact that Dracula in the Renfield movie, Nicolas Cage and Nicholas Hoult are able to carry that movie, and it's entertaining. Without them, that movie would be so bad. And same thing with Dracula 31. Sorry, Drac, if you're watching.
No, Lugosi, man, he brought the heat for that movie. For me, it's like watching an actor flex as hard as he can.
Yeah.
Because like I said, everybody else just kind of feels like they're acting the way actors act in that time frame. But Lugosi transcended it, and it's so iconic to the point where it's in the zeitgeist of Dracula. Like anytime you see a kid TV show where a little kid starts imitating Dracula, he's imitating Lugosi.
Yeah,
he's not imitating Gary Oldman. It's Lugosi. And even like I used to work at a karate center when I was younger, and I would see these kids who've never seen the movie Dracula, but Look in their eyes. And it's like,
during the pandemic, this is how you're supposed to cough. It was called Dracula coughing.
Dracula was ahead of his time, man. He was so ahead of his time. But no,
the thing is he didn't do that. The reason why is because in Plan 9 from Outer Space, they needed to cover up the fact that that Bela Lugosi was dead, because they shot footage of Bela Lugosi.
Oh, you're right.
And this is why, because his chiropractor was
right
past very, very, very small, like
it's what it's so crazy, like how that, like, that's like a weird Mandela effect. Like, I thought, but now I'm looking, I'm like, yeah, no, he didn't do that at all. But like,
no, Lugosi wanted his face seen.
Yeah.
Ed Wood did not want his actor's face seen because it was not the actor.
Yes. Well, what's so great about that is like the influence on like how they frame Lugosi as Dracula, and you see like in the Addams Family with not the Tim Burton one. Sorry. Oh God. The 90s movies.
Raul
Julia and God, I'm forgetting both their names, the actors' names for both of them.
Christopher Lloyd and
who's Angelica Houston. Thank you.
Angelica Houston.
Yeah, Houston. Okay, so anyways, how they frame her face with the lights that hit her eyes and everything. It's the exact thing they used to do with Lugosi. It's like
it was a black box. They put little pinholes in it, and then they shone a light through it, and that's how they got that effect. That's an amazing effect. I've been trying to figure out how to do that so we can do it for Doc at some point, but it's God, I love that effect.
No, it everything was so effective, and like that's one of the things about when they started making these horror movies. I felt like they got extra creative. Like they started breaking the mold on these movies where it's like somebody walks in the room, never walks in the room. Hey, Shay, what are you going to do? Hey, Shay. No, they were like, we are going to go.
I thought I was watching the movie there for sorry. You told me. I was like, what's going to happen? What? Did they see it? I'm sorry.
They see? Yeah. Oh, there's Dracula. You see? Yeah. Well, like, but it just, I love, and even like the guy who played Van Helsing, like, even though like he was like in a far second place with acting. But like when he got his scene with Lugosi, he started kicking it up a little bit. But yeah, and I liked it. Yeah,
where he's like, he holds up his cross.
Yeah. It's just like he's so conservative. How he does like, yeah.
What a stupid. I hate that. That's my least favorite Van Helsing. Of course, Peter Cushing is the best Van Helsing of all time. Be like, are you ready, Dracula? It's like, oh God, I hate. Oh, what a horrible. No, I'm sorry. No, the best Van Helsing is Anthony Hopkins. Peter Cushing second. Best Frankenstein of all time is Peter Cushing. Sorry. Okay. Anyways.
Yeah, you're good. You're jumping into Hammer. You're dropping into Hammer. We ain't talking.
I know.
We'll talk about
Let's
Hammer.
do a Hammer series.
Oh, I would love to do a Hammer series. They're actually releasing a new movie. Did you hear about it?
No.
It's God, the casting is beautiful. Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, but it's Eddie Izzard.
Oh, are they playing? Or
yeah,
I'm sorry,
Eddie Izzard is both characters.
So is she playing her and then
her? Yes. I don't know the title.
And then a version of using pronouns of him. Is that what's happening?
Let me look it up real quickly, just so that, and just so everyone knows, when I was saying Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, I was saying as in the title characters, not as who they're playing. Hold on a second. Let me look this up real quickly. This is the cool part about these movies. We talk about horror movies, and we're like, oh man, we got some new stuff.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited.
Oh no, I was like, ooh, this is interesting because Eddie Izzard has that like just kind of that swagger. Now known as Susie Izzard. I'm always because I use So anyways, so she is playing. Come on. Sorry, this is taking forever. This is how you know this is a live show, everybody.
It's live, everybody. Pew pew pew.
Dr. Nina Jekyll and Rachel Hyde.
Oh, nice, awesome.
Yes,
okay.
it's a trippy trailer. And right now it is fully hinged on the director right now. It's like, you have a hit on your hands. Let's see what you do. It's like, it's make it or break it. So I want it to do really well, because I think that is such great casting.
Yeah.
Because I Eddie Izzard, like, would always, again, also known as Susie Izzard. I don't think she has a preference. Does she have a preference? No. They still use Eddie in the movie. That's why I never. So, but I'll just say Susie for right now, because I just learned that just now, Susie. So, anyways, so Susie always has great swagger, just like, and just so like you can feel that she's just molding into the scenery. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and now everything is her, and it's that's a great actor, in my opinion.
Yeah,
that's what Lugosi did. When Lugosi walked out, he molded into the stage, and like, that was Lugosi's stage.
He had to fight for that role, and he was doing the Broadway play. They went and saw the Broadway play, was like, ooh, this is doing really well. Maybe we should turn this into a movie. They wanted to give it to Lon Chaney. Lon Chaney died, and then they were like, who could ever play this role? And Bela Lugosi's like, over here. He was like 4th on the list. Everybody said no, and he like campaigned hard and finally got it, and then became what Dracula is. Like, even Adam Sandler's doing a Bela Lugosi impersonation for Hotel.
Very much.
Transylvania. Yeah.
But so, anyways, with this movie, like I said, it's the first. It's kind of the first. I mean, depending on, you want to go farther back with Lon Chaney, The Man of a Thousand Faces. I mean, 1923 with
this is the official kickoff.
This is the official kickoff.
This is the Mummy, the 2020 Mummy that kicked off the whole franchise. As we all, Oh yeah. Oh, this one worked. No, it didn't. All right.
Because Lugosi wasn't like, what if it's me, but Mission Impossible? Think about it.
Hey, I gotta be with the woman half my age. Hey, that's the way I work. I'm Tom Cruise. Bada bing, bada boom, Tom Cruise.
So
let me just cruise in here and pick up my paycheck. Tom Cruise. Bada bing, bada boom. That's how he is in real life. Actually, I'm sorry.
He's hiding. He's hiding.
No, it's me. Tom, if you're watching, you know what you did.
You know.
All right, go ahead. I'm sorry.
You're good. But yeah, so anyways, so Eddie. No, sorry, I'm jumping back to Eddie and Susie right now. Holy shit! I just can't wait to see that movie. I'm just like so excited. So
I'm excited too.
I'm gonna jump back to Dracula. All right, Dracula mode. Okay, so to wrap up Dracula, this kicked it off. This was the success that Universal was looking at.
Only played it twice. Only played the role Dracula twice on film. Dracula and Abbott and Costello meet Dracula. I don't know what he did to piss off people at Universal, but he did.
I don't know, but dummies. I think, who knows. But anyways, glad that he's back. I'm so excited. So anyways, like, he got back to the Abbott and Costello thing, because that was like one of my favorite movies. To me, that was like the Avengers. For me, that was the Avengers. Like, honestly. I mean, you had four of the monsters. Some people don't know that there are 4 monsters in that movie.
Oh yeah.
Last
one being Invisible Man.
I love when he shows up and you see the little cigarette just floating.
And Vincent Price's voice. Oh yes, boys. I love Vincent Price so much, man. I love him so much. He's so cool.
But anyway, so we talked about that. So let's get into the next movies that came after that. So obviously Frankenstein was next, but we're going to talk about The Mummy. So this movie was like I said, to me, like, I will always love the Brendan Fraser Mummy, because it's basically like, if you take away the adventure aspect of the 1999 Mummy, it's this movie essentially. Like,
it
gets right to the meat and potatoes where they're opening up the thing right then and there, and it's different because like Imhotep, who's the mummy, he's not like this is a 10-year ordeal. Like he gets freed and then he assimilates to life. You know, he gets a social security number. You know, he's like
pay taxes.
He's paying taxes and shit. His skin's a little crusty because he hasn't used moisturizer, but you know it's okay. And it's it's Karloff, not Boris Karloff. Karloff, which I always love when they put his name as just he was like Madonna for monsters.
Oh yeah,
I love that.
Well, in the side movie, he's billed as question mark.
Oh yes,
I think that's really cool. Yeah. He doesn't get Karloff credit until Bride. But
yeah,
go ahead.
Yeah, Bride.
But yeah, this is the first time he gets Karloff.
Yeah,
which is a great freaking name. Yeah.
Oh, it's a rock and roll name, man. That's rock and roll with horror. But yeah, so like this gets right to the meat and potatoes, and it's this was a little slower, but it's enjoyable. I like it. Karloff, as you can imagine, chews up the scenery in the best possible way. He just always shows up, and it's so funny. Like here's how I always find it hilarious how much you know he's the mummy. I was watching the movie last night, right? And my wife's in the room. She has never seen this movie. She hasn't seen this version. And I'm like, honey, we are 39 minutes into this. I'm not going to tell you who, but can you find the mummy? As soon as Karloff goes on, she's like, mummy. Fucking mummy. Like his skin's like peeling off from being dead for 3,000 years. It's like mummy. I love how they just pretty much got hired by Imhotep. And he's like just this weird like, oh, I think it's buried over there. How'd you know? Oh, lucky guess.
I guess I'm just really good at finding things. I guess.
he played it off so smooth. It's like, dude, you got hired by a mummy.
Mummy. If I had a nickel for every time I was hired by a mummy.
But this one pretty much carries the same plot line except without the action adventure aspect.
Uses the same theme, the Black Swan theme from Dracula.
Yep.
As their monster thing. Yeah.
I caught that and I even had to Google it. I was like, wait a second, isn't that the same? I'm like, oh yeah. Even the music was very iconic for the time. Very iconic. Like it didn't even sound like music from the 30s, in my opinion. Like it sounds
because it wasn't.
Oh well, yeah.
Because it was the Black Swan. It was from the ballet Black Swan.
Yeah. True. But I mean, like.
You're talking about the actual score. I'm sorry. Yes.
No, you're good. No, you're right. That isn't 1930s, right? But yeah, just the music of all these movies just transcended the times. Is what I mean. Like that's what I mean. But so anyways. But like this was a very impactful movie because it kind of influenced the whole mummies genre because this is when they found that one mummy and it kind of exploited the time. They're like, oh, everybody's talking about this mummy, so let's make a mummy movie. Yeah. And this like you can watch any mummy movie and it's going to follow these rules. This is like the Romero zombie movie.
Yeah, it's kind of the first zombie, kind of in a way.
It is. Yeah. It works pretty much like that. I mean, and like I said, there was a lot of sequels to this one, and then they had, like I said, the Brendan Fraser one, and then
there was the Hammer one.
Hammer, yes, and then they had the Tom Cruise one, which the most tragic thing about the Tom Cruise one is how good Russell Crowe was as Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Yeah, like, not as Susan Izzard. No.
Susie Izzard will win an award because there's something. Susie Izzard is gonna make Dr. Jekyll's Mr. Hyde rock and roll somehow. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, and it makes sense for that to be rock and roll because you have vanilla and then something exciting, and that's And so it's because like Jekyll's like, even though Jekyll's is kind of a murderous person,
Jekyll's he's a cannibal. Yeah.
I always found Jekyll to be or Hyde to be somewhat cool. Like there's always some kind of coolness to him. Like when I read the book, even though he was murdering everybody, but like kind of like trying to think of like a good he was like a Ted Bundy.
He was a real cool guy. Real cool guy. Jesse's going on record as saying Ted Bundy, coolest guy he knows.
$20 sticker, everybody. All right, obviously I don't care about my career anymore. It's like one day this will come up in an interview. Like, what was that thing about Ted Bundy being a pretty cool guy? I'm like, I'm an idiot.
As cool as Eddie Izzard, and that's the truth. And that's it. Every interview, that's what you have to say.
Yeah. Anyways, when that movie, we'll have to go see that movie. We've talked about it so much, and whoever is distributing that movie, Hammer, we'll advertise it for you.
You got our money, Hammer. You happy?
Yes, we will talk about the movie. So, anyways, we'll
good job making good movies. Okay, way to go. I'm sorry, guys. All right, what's next? Real quickly about the Mummy. Let me just say my piece.
Well, say your piece about Mummy. Sorry, I didn't give you a chance.
I was never really a Mummy fan. I love where he's opened up from the tomb and you have that iconic shot, and then it's just a piece of toilet paper going across the floor. After that, it's it. I could never get into the Mummy movies. There's something about it, but them Brendan Fraser ones, perfection. That's all. That's my take.
Loved them. No, I pretty much have the exact same take as yours.
Yeah.
Same take. So now we enter the Invisible Man, who I dare say he has the highest body count of all of them. Like just in the first movie.
Yeah.
Dude, because he goes, oh my god, like the train crash and everything and all that stuff. So Claude Rains, he plays
Jack Griffin.
Jack Griffin. Okay, yeah. And
coolest
he shows up. What?
Great alias. If you're ever running on the law, just go by the name Jack Griffin. That's the coolest name you could possibly think of. Anyways, go ahead.
Which, by the way, to your credit, that is so true. Because as soon as he gets to that pub at the beginning, they're like, definitely broke the law.
Yeah.
Shit talking him downstairs. And again, another James Whale movie. Which
And you can tell by the comedy through it. Yeah.
Oh my god! Like with the piano, where the guy's playing the piano, but then the guy on the side puts the quarter in. I
love that.
Even the Invisible Man was very comical while being very villainous. Like when he's skipping and you just see the pairs of pants just running.
Oh my god! And it's like. I love that where he wipes his eyes and oh my god!
It was, but like this for me was like some of the coolest special effects. Like when he's all right, you want to know who I am? I'll tell you. And he takes, and it's so cool because it's just the way the wraps come off. It looks like it was around something.
Yeah.
It wasn't just slinked over.
The wraps were actually, it was a wire frame that they were filming inside. And when he takes off his glasses and stuff, that's why you can see inside his eye holes to the other side, is because it was a wire frame that they did. It was a mat where they put a black on black, it was wearing a black stock over their head in front of a black what's it called? Backdrop, wearing the bright colored suit, and he takes it off, and then they project. They cut out basically hit the black part and put basically modern effects. They do the same thing.
Brilliant.
Yeah. It's so brilliant. Yeah.
It's a magic trick. I mean, a lot of this stuff is magic tricks. I believe wholeheartedly somebody was invisible when I watched that movie. I'm like, wow. Dude's invisible.
Amazing. The footprints in there's somebody underneath the set just pulling down footprints so it sinks in. But you remember this stuff. It's I don't know what it is. It just sticks to your brain easier than anything.
Rob Zombie talks about this, and I really agree with him when he says, because the thing about computers and animation and CGI and all that stuff, is they all run mostly on the same system, so they're all identifiable. You can identify them. Everything looks the same. There's nothing, but when you see this, it's practical. It happened in our three-dimensional world, and the way it's happening, it's not identical to maybe how I would do the footprints. Maybe you would do the footprints. Maybe it's faster. Maybe it's slower. Maybe it sinks a little bit. But that certain difference and flaw gives the effect a certain amount of humanity, which makes it feel ever so real.
In Japan, you had Godzilla in the 50s, and it was a guy in a rubber suit. And then they did a series of just guy in a suit kind of movies, not belittling it at all.
No.
But then they started doing CGI Godzillas, and they weren't making as much money. They started making money again when they put a guy back into the rubber suit, and because it's tangible, it feels like you can touch it. If it's that's why I don't. Everybody tells me this, and I understand what they're saying, but like playing horror video games doesn't freak me out because it's a pixel on a box. If I'm watching a horror movie and there's something there, that was a physical thing that can find me. You know what I mean? If it's pixels, it's not as scary to me.
Because when you're a kid, you're watching something scary, and when you watch it, you're like, okay, that existed somewhere.
Yeah.
Now, what happens when it exists in front of me? And I think that tangibleness freaks you out.
Yes.
Because and how they play it up and everything. I remember watching Friday Nightmare on Elm Street. I was afraid to go to sleep because I was afraid oh, that's tangible. Yeah. I'm pretty much walking into the lion's den. You know what I mean?
I'm gonna die.
Yeah. And then the invisible.
Why did you do this to me, Mom?
Yeah. And what's real great about the Invisible Man, the one thing that I think made this movie so effective is the paranoia. Yeah. The paranoia is what made this movie work. When they're trying to plan on how to trap him, they're like, all right, men, hold up the necks, walk across the room.
Yeah.
No way he could be in here. And it's have you ever had that feeling you're by yourself, but you feel like you're not by yourself?
Oh yeah.
Even to the point where he kills Kemp, which is one of my favorite deaths in the whole movie. Kemp, you cocksucker.
Yeah.
In the back of the fucking car. I was riding on the car the entire time. I followed you. And he has to go off the cliff.
The best Vales did was casting Claude Rains, who has such a distinct voice. Claude Rains was in World War I, and he got gassed, and his vocal cords were messed up. That's why his voice is this kind of register, is because he had really fucked up voice. And he cast Claude Rains on his voice, and of course Claude Rains is a world-renowned actor and was able to deliver the lines. But and you don't see Claude Rains till literally the last frame of the movie. But that voice is has such power and such humanity. You can hear him unraveling through his voice. It's such a great vocal performance. Yeah.
Which you bring up a very good point, is how much he had to command with his voice, because for the majority of that movie he wasn't physically there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, I mean, he was in the wrappings and stuff, but yeah. But just when it's just like a little. When it's just like a little thing going across the scene, it's like, do I have to be there on that day, James? Can I take that day off? Yeah, it's fine.
Just hold the phone up. Hold the phone up. I'll do it. I'll do it all right now. Like the scene where the cops are trying to ambush him. He is just fucking with them.
Oh my God.
It's so good. I love the whole idea he's going mad and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of the adaptations you see of the Invisible Man, you see that in the Hollow Man, they kind of played up the whole I'm invisible, you can't see what I'm going to do, and therefore this temptation and evil comes out. Then you have the Invisible Man with Lee Wannell made, which kind of they subvert the genre by making it about domestic violence, which is beautiful. This whole idea that you fear somebody being there who's not really there. In this case, being a domestic violence victim, you fear that that person will be back in your life. In this case,
Yeah.
An Invisible Man. Like what? Like that is the worst thing.
The scene where they're at the restaurant, and the knife just and then goes into her hand, and then people are freaking out, and like, what a great scene! Oh my god,
dude,
beautiful.
I got to see that movie in theaters before the pandemic broke out. The whole audience went what? They went nuts. They were like, "What the fuck?" Like they just could not believe it happened.
Yeah,
it was, but it's stuff like that. It's so good. It's so practical, and this movie is so underrated in my opinion.
Yeah, it's such a great movie. It's one of my favorite monster movies because I love a good guy in a coat and a hat. That's what it boils down to. But like,
and this is like the easiest costume to go for as Halloween. You just gotta find random shit in your house, cover yourself up, get some glasses. Dude, there you go.
During the pandemic, I would go to whatchamacallit, the store, in full like hat, coat, mask. I had 2 masks on with the mask over top and the glasses, gloves on, going through. And of course, I talk like this the entire time. Oh yes, peanut butter. I'll take peanut butter to go with that. And
we're gonna kill a bunch of people, but first, get me some lettuce.
What's going on with this guy? It's always that kind of look, but it was like,
well, before we move on,
I can get away with doing this. Anyways, I'm sorry. Go
ahead. You're good. I didn't cut you off. I was gonna say anything you want to close with this before we jump on to our next sponsor, because we have 2 more. I want to try to get in here. We're gonna go a little overtime, folks, because this is the Universal Monster.
Sorry, it's 100 years. Sorry. I would say, okay, so yes, Claude Rains one. Return of the Invisible Man with crap, what's his name? I just said his name. Vincent Price. Really good. But they drop off after that one. They're good. There's like Agent Invisible Man, and like they
genres as they go. Like one's a spy movie. One's a war movie.
The what was it? The Invisible Woman is a good one. I really like that one. But yeah, Claude Rains, it's worth a check out. It's really good. Anyways,
it stands up. It stands up, everybody, for a movie being that old. I was thoroughly enjoyed it. I watched it last night, and I was like, oh, just beautiful. Here's another movie I absolutely love.
Yeah.
And I listen to so many people shit on this movie, and it pisses me off. Oh no, I'll get into that. I'll get into that. I'll get into that. Trust me, it pisses me off, and I know it's gonna piss you off. So this movie, The Wolfman, man, Larry Talbot comes back to his Welsh home, and
this super corn-fed Midwestern guy, 6'2", comes home to his little dainty Claude Rains father. Hello, boy, good to see you. Well, he was there, Dad.
He's sitting in the back of he's sitting in the car, like, Mr. Larry. Oh, yes. And then he keeps flirting with that store owner throughout the movie.
Which he's like, how do you know about me? He's like, I was watching you in your window through my telescope. And she's like, oh. I'm like, man, I wish it was that easy.
Dude.
Impress women.
I know some women, if Ryan Gosling said that to them, they would be like, oh, yeah, that's cool.
But not Lon Chaney Jr. Lon Chaney Jr. is scary looking.
Respect the Chaney, all right? He's not the scariest Chaney, all right? There's scarier Cheneys out there. That's true. But anyways, so here's the thing people kept saying. They were like, they felt like he, as an actor, was the least effective actor as a monster. And I disagree with that so much, because when he turns into the wolf, the look on his face is painful. He's like, he's chewing up the scene a little bit, but I love it because it's like,
that's not chewing up the scene.
Not in a bad way. I don't mean that in a bad way.
No. First of all, it's fine chewing up the scene if it's really good and it fits the movie or role or whatever. Secondly, like, he was doing a really good job. Like he was really good at it. It
looked painful, like he was gonna become the Wolfman. It looked horrific.
Yeah.
And I think that was one of the things. Like, you almost, like, as soon as the moon came out, you're like, oh shit, Larry, no.
Whoa! Don't talk about him! Oh no! Oh no! What's happening? Wolfman!
Hey, come here.
Folks,
Sorry.
does not want to hear about the Wolfman. They're really oh yeah, I feel you. No, we're not gonna talk. I won't even say the words. We'll say WM.
It's okay. It's okay, little girl. Okay, all right. She's good.
All right.
She had to defend the house. We have a neighbor's dog. They come across the yard and hits our glass window, and she's like, we don't do that, right? We don't do that, Sydney. All right. So, anyways, named after Sidney Prescott. So perfect that she jumped right in there. We call her Sidney Prescott. Oh no, Sid, come here. Not to fight anybody. She's got her Halloween bandana on and everything right now.
Yes, Sydney. Hey, Sydney, do you like scary movies? No, yeah. Yeah. What's your favorite?
You don't like scary movies? What's your scary movie?
Take that as it. Oh yeah. Tongue? Rubber?
Tongue?
Rubber? You go with rubber? Really? Okay. Well, oh, because you're chasing cars. I get it. Okay.
It's okay. Hey, okay. Dog's gone. Anyways, so, but yeah, no, it looked absolutely painful that he was becoming the Wolfman every single time, and it was, and he's the most, in my opinion, like, it's so tragic because out of all the characters we've talked about thus far, arguably we could debate Frankenstein. He is the most casualty to his curse. I mean, you could. I mean, definitely there's the thing. Frankenstein, the Dr. Frankenstein was the villain, and Monster Frankenstein was, more of a victim of his circumstance. Which, we can. That's the point of Mary Shelley's thing. But Larry himself, it's like he is trapped.
Yeah.
Like,
this is just forced upon him, and he has there's no way of stopping it. The only way he can stop is if he's dead. And our hero is trying to find ways in the sequels to kill himself so he can, because he's so guilty about this curse that he has. What an amazing concept for a movie. That is such a great.
It absolutely is an amazing concept. And for people, why this concept is so important is because it is used a lot. A lot. Not only from from a horror movie standpoint with the Wolfman and everything like that, and the Joe Johnston one is still one of my favorite adaptations. No, I love that one. Rick Baker was the makeup artist for that, who also was the makeup artist for American Werewolf in London, which won. It was a horror movie that won the first makeup Oscar ever. So,
which deserved.
Deserved.
They did a whole transformation in full bright light. That's amazing. Anyways,
dude, that scene traumatized me because that looks horrible. It looks horribly painful. You're watching him contort. You're watching his nose come out. And it just looks like he's suffering. But
just the thing of him watching it and then just goes right into it is amazing. Anyways, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, you're good. Yeah. I mean, this is where it comes from. It comes from Lon Chaney's ability to just emulate how awful this is and how terrible it was. And what's cool is Lon Chaney is one of the few actors to actually, he was about 3 of the 4 monsters at one point. If I remember correctly, he got to do. He was Dracula.
Son of Dracula. He famously had a mustache.
Yes.
He was the Mummy. He was Frankenstein a little while.
Frankenstein. Yeah.
And the Wolfman. I don't think he played the Creature of the Black Lagoon at all.
No. Creature of the Black Lagoon came out much later. It's so crazy, how much later his movie came out.
Can I ask you a question about Wolfman super, super quick?
Yeah.
So we just recently watched Wolf with Jack Nicholson. Okay. Which is it's fun. It's that 90s, I love that 90s. There was Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. There was, of course, Bram Stoker's Dracula, and then there was Wolf by Mike Nichols. And I just heard an interview with Mike Nichols talking about Wolf, where he was like, I didn't know what to do with the movie because like there's no analogy for turning into a wolf, and I'm like, yeah, there's like that's like every analogy. It could be about alcoholism. It could be about puberty. It could be about like
anything.
There's like I was a teenage werewolf was all about like your body going through changes and stuff. And like I don't know what does the Wolfman mean to you as far as that goes?
And it's funny because Mike Nichols, he's done movies where people have to do radical transformations and stuff like that before. So it's like it's kind of crazy, like because he did The Graduate, where there he's
coming.
I mean, which is an amazing movie. He did Birdcage, phenomenal film. You know what I mean? Like it's so funny because those two movies right there are very analogous. I mean, they're very. You could take them at face value, but there's a lot of metaphors in all those movies. So it's so
exactly.
That he's like werewolf. He's like, I got none.
The thing you could put most on, like something that like it could be about depression. It could be about drugs and alcohol abuse. It could be about body. It could be about social anxiety. It could be about there's so much. It's like, what isn't the Wolfman about?
It is so. Think of something that happens to you. Think of something that happens to you, and that's becoming a wolf.
It could be Wolf of Wall Street. You know what I mean? Like it could be literal killings. Like they used to classify serial killers in America as werewolf killings because they couldn't comprehend a person doing this to another person. Yeah. So like, there's so much that a wolf man can be. I don't know. I did not understand.
So funny story. I'll tell this quick little story before we move on to the last monster. So this is true. And anybody who wants to say it's bullshit, look, you are entitled to your opinion. Yeah. I'm okay with that. I don't expect you to believe it because I didn't expect my wife to believe it. Yeah. It happened I had to speed through 9 red lights to get home and keep my grandmother talking on the phone like this was an FBI sting. Like I'm trying to keep her talking so I can trace the information. Yeah. My grandmother is from Italy. And Lazio. Yeah, all right, fucking. She was talking about werewolves like they were real. Yeah. And like I knew I've heard because I was talking about watching this movie, and she's like, "Oh yeah, I know." And I'm like thinking, like, "Oh, she's just pacifying me. She's Italian, so she doesn't know all this stuff." Yeah, I remember in the old country, lichens. I'm like, what the fuck did you just say? Like, what the fuck did you just say? Oh yeah, I had a friend attacked.
That's amazing.
And like, I have no grounds to say you're full of shit because I'm like, what if?
Well, have you been to Italy?
I've been to Italy. I love the idea that there's an Italian werewolf out there
with like little Gucci, like ride on a little scooter. Ciao.
Instead of this, it's this. Yeah. Oh my god! Yeah, and then my grandfather.
They're dipping their flesh in like in gravy, pasta sauce. Sorry, swapping it up.
My grandfather then overheard. And the best part is my grandfather overhears. He's like, "Oh yeah, no, there were 2 in my village." I'm like,
oh my god,
that's why I had to speak.
Hey, your grandmother sounds cool as hell. My grandma was afraid of fucking Frankenstein.
She's fucking. And here's the funny part: like, she just like, I was like. Yeah, she was just like, she's just talking about werewolves like nothing. I'm like, because the fact that she used the term lichen, I'm like, oh shit, amazing. She is pulling from her own knowledge now. I didn't use that.
That sounds like she's been watching a lot of, what is that? The Kate Beckinsale? What was that? The
Underworld.
Werewolves and lichens. What are they called? Underworld. She just got into Underworld, and she's like, she watched it while she fell asleep. And so it's somehow woven to her. Hey, so the vampires had to come in to save us.
Come and see me, werewolf.
But but it turns out the werewolves were actually the good guy. I'm sorry, that's really offensive.
That's how she sounds. Like it's so funny. Like my grandma and grandfather are like the exact stereotypes of an Italian. Like anybody who starts doing a stereotype, I'm like, you probably met them. Like,
and they're like, oh, we don't sound like that.
Every time, I promise you. Like, I can tell you stories, man. But anyways, let's jump on to our last monster.
Great.
He's the last monster. He was considered the last monster of this whole thing. As you can see, the years. I mean, just look at the years real quick.
Yeah.
41. And now I'm not counting sequels. Obviously, there were sequels.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, as for a new monster.
The last great new monster. Yeah.
Yeah, the Gill Man. Man, and this was a crazy movie because like it was played by two people. One guy who could swim very, very, very well, and the other guy who does all the land shit. And the swimming guy, some of the best choreography.
Yeah.
Ever.
That scene where she's every time I hear it, when she's swimming and he's like above her and he's like kind of, and she's like, oh, there's something down there. Freaks me out because I lived in the sticks and there'd be turtles that pass by your leg when you're swimming in the old creek, and and that would freak you out because you don't know what it is. One time I came up from I jumped into the water and I came up and right by my head is swimming a like that. I'm like, ah!
Oh,
yeah. Like those super poison.
But like, it's such a good scene, man. It is. I think it's one of the most iconic scenes from the movie itself. I mean, you'll see little clips of him destroying things on the boat and stuff like that. But like, it's a beautiful scene. I mean, it definitely impacted Guillermo del Toro with his movie Shape of Water because he was always a big fan of the monster. So he was always like, I need to make him win. Shape of Water.
It's a love story. Yeah,
it is. Yeah. Shape of Water was just him as a 10-year-old going, no, he's gonna win one day, and I'll see to it. And he did. Yeah, but so what are your thoughts on this movie, The Creature from the Black Lagoon?
It's the one series. So I have every Universal monster collection of movies. Like I have all the Draculas, all of everything. This is the one thing I saw. It was part of the Criterion collection of Barnes and Nobles. They had The Creature of the Black Lagoon. I didn't grab it. I grabbed Invisible Man instead, and I can't find him. I could find Creature Walks Among Us easy, but or The Return of the Creature of Black Lagoon. But yeah, it's hard to find all. That's the one thing I need to get to complete the collection. So I'm not super familiar with them, but I have watched them, and I love them, man. What a great creature! What a great monster design! Just a beautiful look, so sleek. I forget the lady's name who designed it, who got no credit up until like the 2000s.
Oh, I can't.
Yeah, it's okay. You guys, you can Google it. We're busy
doing a show.
We're
totally trying to entertain you guys. Thank you.
We gave you entertainment. Least you can do is fucking Google it, all right?
Come on, get the algorithm caring about the person's name, and then we can get some awareness going. If we tell you, it doesn't get the algorithm cooking. That's we're helping everybody out here. That's how we do it.
Hey Tom, I want you to do a screen cap of me doing this. And then put Google it underneath in quotations.
That's just make that a thing. Anytime we're all like, hey, what's this? We're just going to send a picture of Joel. Google it.
All right, there's two. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I got bofa as in both of these fingers. One of the cool things about this movie franchise, it has the funniest connection to Back to the Future.
Oh, yeah. What's that?
Okay, so it's such a weird one. It's so in the third Back to the Future movie, okay?
Yeah.
Well, first off, before I introduce that, in Creature Walks Among Us, I think that's the one where Clint Eastwood shows up in his film debut.
Yes, that's the one. Yep.
So the why that's so funny is because there's a scene when they're at the drive-through at the third movie. They're about to go back in time.
Yeah.
And he says, "Man, Clint Eastwood would not wear this." And Doc Brown goes, "Who?" And he goes, "Never mind. The poster next to him at that movie theater is the creature walking among
us." Oh, that's really cool. All right, yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
It's like such a random like trinket I read somewhere, and I was like, and then I was later watching Back to the Future for Back to the Future Day this year. I was like, holy shit, it's there! Like, holy shit, that's really funny detail, and I would have never saw it because it's very out of focus. But that poster is so iconic. You know it's that poster.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah, no, this movie, like I said, it was kind of like a little bit like King Kong-ish a little bit, because they're coming to the creature's land. I mean, but they're staying there the entire time, and there's no going back to New York and stuff like that. And they're trying to capture this creature, and I just love like how I wish I had the confidence that every guy had in this movie.
Stand back, I'll go in.
It's a prehistoric.
It swims faster than me.
Yeah, they always go to his home turf in the water. Like the one guy who fights him in the water. I was like, "What are you doing?"
In the shortest of short shorts.
Dude,
just a chest and short shorts.
I was ready for a ball to pop out during the fight.
This Amazonian creature that hadn't had to evolve because it's a killing machine. Short and my bed. That's all I need.
It's the dumbest. Like, it was just so hilarious. Like how like it got to the point where I'm like, you deserve it. You deserve it. I don't even care anymore. Like, why
deserve it for going in there and like
on top of that,
they're like, hey, look, a bee's nest. Dun, 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 dun. What they're packing? What is this?
Yeah, they pretty much are. Yeah. Okay, so on top of the fact that this movie is essentially a home invasion movie, it is. I mean, they're going into this guy's home and going, hey, what's going on? What's going on here? You know, we want to know about your bones. We found these bones, and we want to know if you have the same bones. That's kind of the plot to the movie. Do you think that guy? But like, it's so hilarious. Like, just how cocky they thought they were, and like the fact that the guy tried to take him on the water. Because like, here's the reason why I laugh at that so hard. We grew up in a time where Pokemon was the thing, and you throw out a fire Pokemon, your first thought is, you gotta get a water Pokemon out there.
Yeah.
And this guy was like, oh, he sees a fire Pokemon, and they're like, all right, bet, plant. You're like, you fucking idiot.
Oh yeah, I guess that'll go against the entire lagoon.
But anyways, no. This movie was great. I loved it. It has just that beautiful amount of charm. It's that creature finds a woman, and that's a very familiar kind of like thing. I mean, that's one of the things that made King Kong. Yeah, for me, I always called this King Kong Lagoon. Like, to me, that's what it always felt like. Yeah, yes. I mean, because these are two creatures who are apex. They didn't have to evolve in their own right. They're kind of the highest part of the food chain in their own land, and you get these arrogant people that come in and go, "Yeah, we're gonna poke around, see what happens here," and it doesn't go right.
Then the return of the creature is where it's the second act of King Kong, where he's in basically SeaWorld and escapes SeaWorld. It's yeah.
I was
amazing if it was like was it what was that movie, Free Willy? Yeah. But he like swipes off your head, and it's just a stump with like blood squirting out, and it's swimming away, and then it just collapses, and
I always wanted the sea monster to do that thing that dolphins do where they're going backwards.
That would be amazing. You know what?
All right, so
Universal, if you're rebooting this, we're not giving you any more ideas. You're gonna have to pay us.
Exactly. Reboot it, but make sure, just like how Ace Ventura, like they modeled him after the cockatoo, model the creature after a dolphin, and have him do very dolphin-like things. You'll have There's your $1 billion movie right there.
And I heard some pretty horror stories about dolphins. So yeah,
dolphins are pretty awful. So there you
go. Dolphins are assholes, guys. I hate to break it to you, but dolphins are assholes. They're not the chicken of the sea. That's tuna. They're the assholes of the sea. So yeah.
But anyways, yeah, no, they're pricks. They're pricks.
Yeah.
But so Creature, yeah. So do you have anything you want to say to wrap up Creature of Black Lagoon?
Great movie. Great redesign in Monster Squad. Yeah. The best thing about this movie is it gave Benicio del Toro a wait, no, not Benicio. Wait, who?
No, Guillermo
del Toro. Benicio del Toro. We could have talked about over Wolfman. Anyways,
yeah.
Guillermo del Toro gave him the confidence that he needed to be like, no, the monster should win. One water, and he's now working on Frankenstein. So he's creating his own universal monster. So thank you, Creature of Black Lagoon, for giving this amazing movies that I'm sure will be happening soon. So
did you hear the 2-time Oscar winner they have that's cast in that movie?
No. In the Frankenstein? Who's
Christoph Waltz.
As Baron Frankenstein?
I don't know. But man, that's that dude.
Well, he can't because the whole is Frankenstein is young and an idiot. That's what I love about the Frankenstein movie is that he's a young idiot that's like, I can do this, and it's like, fuck you can't tell me what to do. I'm doing it. He does it, and he immediately is like, what the fuck did I do?
Now here's what you're overlooking.
Yeah.
Remember, Frankenstein is a flat. Some of the movie is a flat.
It's a flat earther. I'm sorry.
That's why he sailed away.
Yeah. Not round.
That's why he sailed away off the edge at the end. He was like, "I'm gonna." That's
it. Flat like head.
He had no choice but to be a flat earther. But no, I was gonna say, because remember, it begins with him at the end of his life searching for Frankenstein. So maybe maybe it's Christoph Waltz narrating.
Ooh. Oh, he's the guy that. Oh yeah.
He's the older Frankenstein, and like during the Arctic, and he's talking to the guy and he's telling him the story. So maybe they might do that. I don't know. There is so much you could do.
He's probably the professor that's like, you're playing with shit you shouldn't be. You're playing with shit you shouldn't be playing with. You know, kind of thing. That's what
he could be. He could be the professor that gets him into experimenting and stuff like that. Which, no. But anyways, point is, there are so many great horror movies. I want them to re-enter a new age of these classic horror movie characters, and I think in the last couple of years, and I'll wrap up. They've been doing a really good job doing that. Because I mean, as in like modernizing these characters. Like, I think to me, the best the best reboot or adaptation of Dracula since Lugosi was the Bram Stoker's one. And I know that's something you agree with. The Frankenstein one.
Fuck you, Jeff. It's fucking great, Jeff. If you're watching, fuck you. It's a great fucking movie. Sorry, go ahead.
But like the most recent Frankenstein movie they made was The Angry Black Girl and Her Monster.
Fantastic. Oh, I need to see that.
It's on Shudder. Fantastic. And, with The Bride of Frankenstein, the most recent thing that kind of subverts that is The Bride of Chucky. The Shape of Water did for The Gill Man. The Mummy, Brendan Fraser. Cruise tried to do it and it fucking sucked.
Yeah.
And then Wolfman, in my opinion, Joe Johnson. Like a lot of these people, like these characters, you could in The Invisible Man, which is the 2020. These creatures are all metaphoric. They're all metaphoric in what they can do, and with the right creativity, you could do so much with these. That's why, like Mike Nichols, I don't think he figured it out for some reason with the wolf stuff. Him and his wife Elaine, I can't remember. They're a comedy duo.
It wasn't his wife. That was his comedic partner, Elaine May.
I thought they were married.
No, they never married. They dated for a little bit, but they were mostly just a comedy duo.
I did not know that. I don't know why, but yeah,
she went off to direct Ishtar.
Ishtar.
Yeah. Anyways.
All right. Anyways, hold on a second. Just what I made a Google it pick, posted on the page.
Yeah, Tommy.
There you go, Tom. Thank you so much, Tom, for having that. So before we sign out, is there anything you want to close out and finish regarding the monster universe?
I remember Dracula said this, and I agree with him 100%. Don't reboot it as a horror franchise because it's not really horror. It's fantasy. It's a dark fantasy, and if you're rebooting it, don't set it in modern time because it kind of loses something. If you make it too gory or it kind of loses something. It needs to be thought of more like Lord of the Rings than how can we make this scary? And if you put it into a magic land where it's separate than everything with its own laws and its own rules and its own fantasy, I think you can do something pretty amazing. Sounds like that's what Guillermo del Toro is doing. So I'm
very much.
I think it's gonna be great. Anyways,
I think
that's my thought.
I could not agree more.
I love the Universal monster movies so much. It inspired me to do this show called The Sick World of Doctor Show this Friday and Saturday at Mad Lab, the old haunted Mad Lab theater. I absolutely adore these movies. This was the thing my partner Lindsay and I. This is one of the things that we bonded over really, really quickly were these movies, and I love them. I love them so much.
Yeah, they're timeless. They're classics. I mean, out of all the movies that came out during the time frame, these movies still have the most rewatch. It's almost been 100 years, and we're still talking about them. And we're still telling people to go see them. Yeah. And that's the everlasting impact of these movies.
Yes, 100%. I agree, Jeff. Perfect place to end it.
Perfect place to end it. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in. I absolutely love that you guys were all here. You guys rock. I know there was so much we could have went on and talked about more. We could have talked about the Lugosi-Karloff rivalry. We could have talked about a lot of stuff.
Ooh, let's do that sometime.
Yes.
Let's do another one where it's Karloff and Lugosi. Let's do Let's do the spin-offs. Let's do all of it. We'll talk in the chat.
That's the best part about the Halloween season is we have many of these episodes because I definitely want to talk about those two. Those two, very interesting, very fascinating. But anyways, thank you guys so much for everybody tuning in. You guys rock. Thanks for staying with us in overtime. Go check out Joel, Dr. Show at Mad Lab.
8 p.m. followed by Late Night Fright with Window Cap Presents. It's burlesque, it's drag, it's amazing, it's comedy, it's all sorts of different stuff. Our show, strictly comedy, nobody gets naked. There's Dr. Show, The Creature, and Trixie the Dancing Skeleton. It's honestly, you can bring your kids to it, but it's not. It's like Pee-wee's Playhouse. It's like, I guess kids can go to it, but it's kind of more for adults. It's amazing.
It's going to be a fun time. That's all you guys need to know. All right. Anyways, thank you, Joel, so much, man. Thank you, everybody. Have a good night. Take care, everyone.
Google it.